Hong Chen Xiong from Mass General Chelsea Healthcare Center. Today, I'm very thankful to be back again to continue the series of community health education series in cable TV. Today, we want to talk about the balanced plate. Food insecurity, which means the concern of not having enough food or not having a reliable access to get food for the family, is a true concern across the country. So today we will really want to talk about how can we eat healthy in a balanced meal plate using the food resources that we have in the community. I want to introduce first Pep Vicente Joseph, who is one of the community health workers from the Community Health Improvement Team at Mass General Chelsea.
Thank you, Dr. Chen. Hello and welcome everybody. Besides Dr. Chen, we have as well with us Jennifer Betry, a nutritionist at MGH Chelsea, and we have also Jose Iraeta, a food pantry coordinator here in Chelsea. So the first question is going to be for you, Dr. Chen. What is food insecurity and how widespread is the problem in Chelsea?
Thanks for asking. So food insecurity is defined as the concern of not having enough food or not having a reliable access to get food for the family. There's a degree of food insecurity, which we will have like the very good food secure patient, and then the bottom, the another extreme, very low food security. So low food security means food insecurity, right? When we say that they have high food security, means that they have no problem in getting food. Then a little bit lower would be marginal food insecurity, meaning that they have some anxiety in getting food, but they still can manage. When we have low food insecurity without hunger, that means that they have probably enough quantity of food, but they don't really have the resource to get nutritious food. Therefore, they might suffer a little bit more. And then we go to the lowest level would be the very low food security, meaning food insecurity with hunger. So hunger actually is a real problem. It's a physical problem. People have to go literally hungry, meaning having the discomfort, feeling weak, having the physical pain because of the lack of food. However, having enough quantity of food by itself only doesn't mean that it's going to be healthy food, because they will not have probably the physical pain. However, it has been shown in several studies, and scientists have done studies about this, that food insecure patients, because of the anxiety not getting food, they get a lot of quantity of probably not very well balanced food, and they can get a lot of chronic illnesses such as diabetes, heart disease, both which has very high prevalence in Chelsea, and it's causing the majority of deaths. In Chelsea, how is it spread? So the patients that we serve in the healthcare center, almost a quarter, like 26% of the patient has some level of food insecurity, meaning having the concern of food. That is compared with the rest of the country, usually runs between 10 to 11% of food insecurity. So really we have a serious problem in this. And food insecurity per se is one of the social determinants of health. In today's program, that is what our hope is, that we can actually share this concern with everyone, and so people can actually find themselves how to navigate in this concern of not having enough nutritious and balanced food for this. Again, we have confirmed also the study in our team that people with food insecurity thus gain more weight, therefore having more obesity and having more complications such as diabetes and heart disease.
So Dr. Chen, you mentioned social determinants of health. Can you explain a bit more on how they, including food insecurity, affect or shape people's health?
Thank you for asking the question. First of all, what is social determinants of health? Sounds really a strange word. It seems that doesn't make sense, but really it's something very simple. It's just things that we face daily in our own life. So the WHO, the World Health Organization, defines it as the condition in which we are born, grow, learn, work, worship, and age. That literally means everything that we face every day. That also means that our health is determined by the things that we face in our daily life, right? And then, therefore, our health does not start when we get in contact with a doctor or with the clinic or with the healthcare system. Our health start well before that, well before we start seeing a doctor. And we should expand our concept of health in something that is not something that we want to recover after we lose it, like being sick, but how to keep it. Like when we have it, how can we keep it? That is, again, before we see a doctor. So the social determinants of health, as we say, are the conditions that we face daily that and in which people are born, live, learn, play, work, worship, and age. And as again, these all shape the health outcome of the different people. And even when people get sick, these are the conditions that can help people recover or hinder people to recover. US has been one of the countries leading in technologies and in medicine and in cutting edge solutions for health. However, for the money that has been invested, we should be one of the best, like the healthiest people in the world. However, for many of the indicators, for example, the life expectancy, like how long we live, is actually not even in the top 25 of the world. So now actually we should work together so we can keep our people healthy and be the healthiest in the world. Again, the fact why these social determinants can shape our health. The fact that if we don't get enough nutrition of balanced food in our table, we are the one that is going to suffer and not be able to get good health. If we don't have enough safety, we're concerned about going out to play. If we don't have adequate transportation, comfortable to get to where we work. If we can't be happy or like being productive at our work, if we don't have trust that somebody is going to take care of our kids well, we will have more physical and mental illnesses that is going to be hard to resolve. So that's why we discuss about social determinants of health. And food insecurity, again, is one of the most common social determinants of health.
Thank you, Dr. Chen, for your explanation of the social determinants of health. That makes great sense. So now let's continue and find out what community food resources we have in Chelsea to help people with food insecurities. So the next question is for you, Jose. Welcome to the show. And what food services or programs are available in Chelsea, and where are they located?
Well, thank you for having me. So there are multiple resources that people in our community can have access to. For example, at the health center, folks can apply for WIC services, and also for, in one of the companies that I work for, the neighborhood developers, you can apply for the SNAP program and other forms of benefits. But we also have a vast network of multiple food pantries and soup kitchens in our community that we call Chelsea Hunger Network. And they come up with a guide of resources that are available to folks in our community, which you'll see later on after this presentation, so stay tuned for that. And for example, I work in a food pantry that also has a community dining room where people can get a warm meal in the mornings every Saturday, and also lunch. And yeah, does that answer your question?
Yeah. Thank you very much. So who can use these food resources? Do people need to be qualified or eligible?
Yes, there are some eligibility that across multiple food pantry services you need to meet. Some of them are having a valid form of ID. It could be from this country or from another country. As long as it's valid, it works. Also, there has to be residency eligibilities. Sometimes certain services are for certain type of population that live in certain area. So that's why you have to show where you live. And also income guidelines. The services that many of the programs in our community provide are really for folks that really need it.
How can people in need of help use the food resources? Do they need to go through paperwork or sign up?
Great question. So it depends on the resource that you are actually trying to get. For example, if you go to the health center, or if you're trying to apply for the SNAP program, there's a lot of documentation that has to be filed in order for you to receive that service. However, it ranges from the service that you're trying to provide. For example, in my food pantry, what you would need is a valid photo ID, proof of residency, and fill out a form demonstrating your income guideline.
Thank you very much, Jose, for this great information that helps our patients and others in the community to fill the gap of food insecurities. Now let's continue and hear from Jennifer. Welcome, Jennifer, to the show about eating healthy from different sources of food, from supermarkets to community food-based resources. So, Jennifer, let's get straight to the title of our show today. Can you tell us what is a balanced plate?
I'd be happy to answer that, Pep. The Balanced Plate is basically a simple guide that encourages us to choose a variety of food each day. We need balance in our diets to get all of the necessary nutrients that we need to have a healthy body. And choosing foods from each of the 5 food groups is the best way to achieve that balance. Those 5 food groups are vegetables, fruits, meat or meat substitutes, along with dairy products. My Plate, more specifically, is a guide by the United States Department of Agriculture that also encourages us to choose a variety of foods. We want to balance our food choices by choosing mostly healthy foods, and we want to limit the fat, sugar, and salt that we consume. We also need to balance what we eat and drink with plenty of physical activity. You can learn more about My Plate if you go to www.choosemyplate.gov.
Thank you. What foods and how much of each food group are good for me throughout the day?
Well, all foods can fit in a healthy diet, but what we want to do is choose mostly nutritious foods that are rich in vitamins and fiber and other nutrients like calcium and protein, while we decrease foods that are high in sugar and fat and salt again. First, you want to try to put vegetables and fruit on half of your plate. Choose vegetables with bright colors because the vegetables and fruits that have bright color are typically better for us as they're loaded with vitamins and nutrients. Next, you want to choose a protein food. Protein foods include chicken, turkey, fish, beef, peanut butter, and nuts. And it's best to choose lean proteins like chicken without skin or fish, and we want to limit high-fat meats like hamburgers or sausage or bacon. A healthy portion of protein is basically the size of the palm of your hand. A balanced plate should also have a grain, and examples of grains include pasta, oatmeal, bread, tortillas, cereal, and oats. And you want to try to choose a whole grain when possible, like wheat bread instead of white bread or brown rice instead of white rice. The fiber in the whole grain can actually help make you feel fuller longer. And many of us are eating far too many grains, so try to include a smaller portion. A fist amount is considered a healthy portion of a grain. And then lastly, it's important to have dairy as well. Dairy products are rich in calcium and protein, and examples of dairy products include milk, yogurt, and cheese. But we want to ideally choose low-fat dairy, like 1% milk or skim milk or low-fat cheese and low-fat yogurt. 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of yogurt, or 1.5 ounces of natural cheese is considered a serving size of dairy. But lastly, we want to basically put most of our plate with vegetables and fruit. That should be the bulk of the plate, with smaller portions of protein, grains, and low-fat dairy.
Thank you. This is a question that we get often from members of the community. How can I add more fruit and vegetables to my balanced plate?
So many people are not getting enough vegetables and fruits, and with a few small changes, it's easy to get what you need. First, you can try adding fruit or berries to your cereal or oats in the morning. You can also add spinach or tomatoes or other vegetables to your egg. You can try mixing vegetables with foods like soups and salads and casseroles and sandwiches and pizza and even rice. And you can also mix the vegetables with your favorite foods or add diced carrots to pasta sauce. Try raw vegetables with low-fat dressing and mix it up. We want to try to get different vegetables and fruits so that you're not always buying the same products each time that you shop.
The next question is tied to food insecurities. How can I stay within my budget and bring healthy foods to the table for me and my family?
This is a question that's very important and a question that I get all the time from patients. Many patients feel that it's expensive to eat healthy, and this isn't true. With a little bit of planning, it's very possible to eat healthy and on a budget. Basically, we want to keep it simple. Basic and affordable, and if you have WIC or use the food pantry, you just want to think about what foods you're receiving, how they fit into a well-balanced diet, and how they fit onto a balanced plate. We want to avoid processed foods like cookies and chips and snack foods because these foods typically cost more. We want to keep staples, simple, affordable staples in the house like peanut butter and dried beans and eggs and frozen vegetables and fruit, along with low-fat milk, whole wheat bread, and oatmeal. And then we want to make a list when we shop, and we want to try to stick to that list. And it's also helpful to plan a menu for your house or for the home for the week ahead. Don't be tempted by items when you're in the grocery store that aren't on your list. And also try to prepare most of your foods at home. When we eat out, those calories add up fast, so it costs less and it's much healthier for you to eat most of your meals at home.
What other things I should pay attention to that helps me follow the balanced plate?
Well, when we look at the balanced plate, we see vegetables, we see fruit, we see the dairy and protein and grains, but what we don't see are sugars, fat, and salt, and that's because we want to limit these things in our diet. Healthy fats are usually plant-based fats and include fish, avocados, canola oil, olive oil, nuts, and seeds. And we want to limit the unhealthy fats, which are typically from animal products, like red meat and butter and cream. Fiber has many benefits, and it can help lower cholesterol, and again, it helps us to feel fuller longer. So it's best to choose plenty of high fiber foods as well, like whole grains and beans and nuts and seeds.
Now, how about beverages or drinks? What are healthier drinks for me and my family?
What we drink is also very important, and those calories add up very fast. We want to ideally avoid drinks that are high in sugar, like soda, juices, and energy drinks, and we want to focus on water. Unfortunately, the most common food item that people purchase with their SNAP is soda. And if we decrease that, we switch over to water, you'll not only save a lot of money, but you'll be drinking the healthiest beverage.
Thank you very much, Jennifer. Now I'm going to ask you for a final word to share with our viewers about today's topic, the balanced plate. So whoever wants to go first.
I think that was very useful. I remember a while ago when we filmed another show, one tip that you gave us that don't go shopping when you're hungry. So I think half a meal, and I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, the basic idea is that you want to have a rainbow color food with that standard of half, a quarter, and then a cup. And then get a lot of fiber, because that will fill us up. We will not be hungry if we get a lot of fiber content food, even if it looks smaller. That helps us to decrease cholesterol, help us to decrease diabetes, help us to decrease colon cancer. So I think those tips are really nice. I am really excited about all the tips that you applied the tips. I hope that this was helpful for you to help you to plan the balanced meal. And again, it needs seems to be a lot of planning. And for those that do not have time, the food pantries and usually the food resources, they do the plan. They have by protocol their own dietitian that will schedule out all the different food that fit into this group. So trust that the food pantry will have a standard type of meal. Just try to get all the food that is offered and not just choose and pick certain one. So the variety of food will really help us to keep healthy and get a lot of nutrition. Thank you, and please tell us what's your concern about food. If there's any question that has not been addressed, we're here. We really appreciate that the community organizations are here, and we're here to help, and we really cannot help if you don't give us feedbacks. Jennifer, if you have something else to add?
I think you summarized it perfectly. I just wanted to also just reiterate that you can practice the balanced plate no matter where you get your food. People have a lot of questions often about nutrition, and if you have any other questions and you're a patient of MGH Chelsea, we'll have the phone number for the nutrition department, and you can always ask your doctor for a referral to learn more about healthy eating.
Jose?
And just one of the things that I want to add is the fact that when we stocked our food pantry, we actually follow similar guidelines to what you guys have. We have a section for proteins, vegetables, fruits, grains, and then on top of that we have added fresh produce like that are not canned but are fresh. So this was really insightful just to understand the process that we go through at the food pantry. And if folks need any form of support, they can always reach out to us. And if you need help, there's help out there. So you should definitely come.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Chen. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Thank you, Jose. And thank you all for being with us today.